Check it out, guys. Got her all ready to go. Did all the prep work up here in the engine bay. Got the motor mounts all set up and ready to take this engine. Got the exhaust. Let's zoom in here. Got the exhaust. What the heck would you call those? The exhaust flanges cleaned up and ready to go. I'll take this wire brush here. And we'll just give a wipe to these ones. Clean those up. Just get any of the big chunks of rust out. You know, we got the engine out. We don't want to put it back together and have a stupid little exhaust leak making an awful racket. So get these cleaned up and then we'll be putting this engine in here before long. Alright, my man T-Wag has arrived. Let's get started putting this thing in. We got her dangling in the engine bay here. So it's a good start. I'll set you guys up and we'll get to putting this thing in. Oh, almost forgot.
What are we doing? We're going down and putting it in more egg?
We're going down and putting it in. I think we ought to freaking
tie this up.
Tie it up. We're getting something over here, huh?
Yeah, but it needs to come up this way. Can't go in or it because it's fucking. It's not gonna slide down over it. It'll be fine and everything.
That only needed 3 bolts anyway, or 2 bolts.
Fuck it. Because we're in on this side, we're good to go. We just need to lower it down so we can get that side up on it, then we can just slide it over into that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, we need to like dip it down.
But we can't go down because this is killing us. I think we need to go down a little bit.
Oh, down on the jack?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because now that it's sitting in here, if we can kind of just muscle it up a little bit, I think, and put it where it needs to go. You know what I'm saying? Hello, Kenzie. How are you?
Good, how are you?
It's absolutely amazing. You want a beer?
Is it in there?
You want a beer?
No, I don't want a beer. Damn. Good job, boys.
Yeah, we gotta go up a little bit, don't we? When we lift it, right?
Yeah. Well, do you have a bar?
Not like an ideal one. I have something we can use as a bar.
I just want to put something in here and pry it and so it'll go, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, fuck me, dude.
What?
I forgot something.
What'd you forget?
The plate that goes between the engine and the transmission.
That's fine, we can pull this thing and slide it out a little bit. Or does that have to come all the way back out?
It's gotta come out just enough for me to get something over the... Oh, fucking the flywheel. Damn it. Dude. Alright, I forgot to put that plate on between the flywheel, or between the motor and the transmission, but we fixed my mistake and back in we go.
I'm gonna...
This is because we need to lift it.
This thing, the motor mount moves too, which is like really fucking us.
Yeah, it moves, I left
on
it
the
loose.
rubber, huh?
Yeah.
Why is that?
It's sitting on the motor mount here at 1. 1, 2, you get a floor jack here, right? Remember the beer too?
Yep, same. What, beer break?
Yeah.
We got the motor on, so yeah, fuck it. It's fucking Saturday, you gotta be fucking working too damn hard.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen. We got the motor sitting down on the motor mounts there. Bang, focused. And there's that a Juan. It's all sitting on the motor mounts. We just need to get you a shot right here. You can see the flywheel. We just need to get the transmission and the motor mated up. And then Bob's your freaking uncle.
Oh.
Alright guys. This is what happens when you don't know what the hell you're doing. You get to pull it out again for the 3rd time. 2.5.
2.5.
And flip the plate around that you put on backwards the 1st time. Actually the 2nd time. Alright guys, getting this engine on the way here. We got the motor in, all set up on the motor mounts. We got the transmission bolts All of them are started in. I got the top 2 tight. We got, we just pretty much got to put the wire harness in for now, and then I'm gonna put the intake on, and then I'll deal with the rest of this stuff later. Once I get the intake on and all this wire harness put together, I'm gonna spark this thing up and make sure it runs all good and everything sounds fine. We got the help over there chilling, popping beers. We'll keep going. I'll give you guys an update later. Will you pause the music? Alright guys, wanted to jump in here with a little update. Moving right along on the engine install. Got my fish sticks right there, very vital. Vital that you keep yourself nourished while working. So pretty much all the accessories are bolted on. I went ahead and stripped out that bolt, the lower alternator bolt there. But it's fine, I'm just gonna run it. Just tightened up the other ones a little tighter and it'll be fine. Just gotta bolt the starter in. Get this this radiator plumbed and the transmission cooler lines plumbed up, and then put the fan on, and then I'm gonna spark this thing up, of course, after I get the battery in, and I'll show you guys what happens. But I just want to get this thing sparked up before I get it all put totally back together, just to make sure there's no issues, and that's what we're gonna do. So yeah, we'll show you when we're I'll jump back in when we're getting ready to fire this thing up here, but that's where we're at right now. Alright guys, trying to line up a good shot for you here, but check that thing out. See the open hole there? In that bar with all the cutouts that runs along there? I'll jump over to the other side here. There we go. There's a shot of it from the other side. It'll focus. Yep, there it is. Okay, so this bracket right here bolts the differential to the transmission to the motor. And I've seen in a lot of videos people complain about how hard this thing is to get put back together. Let me just show you how I did it. So the motor's all in. What I did was you line that thing up, thread the 2 bolts through that just go through the differential, and then you throw a floor jack underneath your diff and just jack it up until those bolts line up, and then you can put it together right like butter. It's once you got this cross member in and everything's back where it's supposed to be, it won't be hard to get that thing lined back up at all. So just do it that way. Use a floor jack. Alright guys, about ready to start this thing up for the first time. I'm gonna turn it over a couple times to get some oil flowing through the engine. Got the fuel pump relay out, so let's just crank it over a couple times.
That does make sense, honestly. Starter saying fuck you?
Battery's dead or what?
Those fools are in there.
Alright guys, just woke up, so let's talk about what happened last night. Right now I'm on my way to O'Reilly's. Last night we tried to spark it. We got the truck, the engine all in the truck and everything. Let me start over. Last night we got the engine in the truck. We got the whole wire harness all put back in. It's all ready to go. We're ready to fire the truck up, and click, nothing happens. The battery is fully charged. It's not like a battery issue or anything like that. And the starter was working totally fine. It was cranking the truck over before we tore the whole thing apart. It sounded totally healthy. That doesn't mean it couldn't have taken a crap, so we replaced the starter. Also, while we were trying to start it, we had the dreaded no bus error code on the odometer. So I was doing some research and I looked it up, and the no bus code has to do with the crank sensor. Usually it's a shorted crank sensor, so I went and, in spirit of just throwing parts at stuff, I just went and replaced the crank sensor. That didn't fix it. What it was, in my case, the whole bus, from my understanding, your bus line is a line of sensors and modules that need to be present, that the ECU needs to be able to talk to in order to be able to start the car up. you know, I had no bus, so the bus line was interrupted somewhere. And I neglected when I was putting the engine in to hook the static strap back up, which is that silver colored braided strap that bolts up in like 3 or 4 different points in the engine bay. But the main bolting point is behind the passenger side head, this passenger side cylinder head. So I hooked that back up and away goes the no bus code. But I'm still getting the click when I turn the starter. And it's not a click, click, click from the solenoid, from the battery being dead. It's a one single click. Sorry about that, guys. Hope you had your seatbelts on. It's a one single click, and what it is, I took the starter out of the car, or the truck rather. I took the starter out of the truck and held it up because the starter needs to be bolted or touching the engine block in some fashion. That's where it gets its ground, from the case. So I touched the case to the engine, and we tried to crank the engine over, and it just went out. The pinion went out and just stayed still. It didn't turn. The pinion was stuck. It wouldn't turn. The pinion would go out. It just wouldn't turn for like the 3rd time. But so I go down to O'Reilly's. It's like 8:30. AutoZone doesn't have one. I go to O'Reilly's. I usually don't go to O'Reilly's, but I go there, and I get what they had, which is the remanufactured starter. Plug that sucker in. And at the same time, I got the crank position sensor, plugged that in. The no bus code didn't go away, and then I figured out it was a static strap later. Anyway, I plugged the starter in, click, click, click. What the heck, man? This thing's a brand new remanufactured starter, but it should work. Anyway, I'm on my way back to O'Reilly's now. There we go. Anytime I start on a hill, you guys are just gonna fall off. Anyway, I'm headed to O'Reilly's now. And we're gonna bench test the brand new starter, and they still have my core that I returned to them, and we're gonna bench test that one and see if they work there at the store. And then if they do, I'll take my old starter back and start diagnosing what's wrong with the truck, because I briefly did diagnose. I looked at, there's 12 volts at the battery. The battery's not dead. I mean, it's got plenty of juice in it, and we hooked another car up to it, you know, like as in we were jumping it, and that still wouldn't get the starter to turn. So it's definitely not the battery. And I also checked the signal wire, the little, usually it's just a connector that connects to the back. You have a main thick cable that goes from your battery terminal to your starter, and then you have a small connector that connects to the back of your starter, and that's the signal that goes to the low voltage side of your solenoid switch. That's what your key, that's the signal your key is setting to the starter, and or your ignition rather. And I'm getting 12 volts at that connector source. So the next logical step is to take it in, have the starter tested. It's possible that it's the biggest coincidence in the world that my good starter took a crap the day I tried to, the first time I ever tried to use it with the brand new engine. And on top of that, I got a bad out of the box remanufactured starter. So we'll see. Keep you guys posted.